Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Don't worry if this looks a bit out of sync. I actually recorded this video earlier in the week, managed to totally cock up and record it with no audio at all. So I'm going to try doing a voiceover now and see if we can cobble it together. It's been a really busy week, so I've not had a lot of time to play in my craft room, but I have been itching to get on with starting this painting, inspired by this week's lesson on Let's Face It 2021 with Cindy Press. I will leave links to Cindy in the description box below. Cindy works in oils. Now, oil painting is something I find quite daunting, but I've recently treated myself to some water mixable oils, which I find a little bit less scary. And the intriguing thing about Cindy's piece was that she worked totally in black and white, and she blended only on the canvas. Here's a photo reference she provided. She takes all her own photo references using a model, and I love this photo. I really love this photo, but I wanted to do something a bit different to make it kind of more my own for this video. So I had a look online and I found this one. I love the effect of those stripes of light. I just found that really striking. Now I'm just going to show you the name of the guy who took the photo because I don't dare try and pronounce it. I found the photo on unsplash.com, which is a great resource. Lots and lots of free photo references, but obviously it's good to give a shout out to the person that's uploaded the photo. And I believe, and I will leave links to him as well. I think you can commission him if you want to, or have a look at more of his work. So here's another look at the photo. With the benefit of hindsight, I know that all of those stripes proved to be quite problematic, and I did make things quite difficult for myself. But still, I really enjoyed the whole process, and I'm quite happy with what I've ended up with eventually. So I'm going to cut through some of that. I don't know what I'm waffling on about here. I'm going to cut some of this out and go to the desk now. Right, so here you can see that I've sketched out an outline of my picture. I've used the grid system and I've enlarged it by about 1.5 times. Cindy used a projector, but I don't have such a thing, so I went with the grid system. Even at this stage it was already quite difficult with all those stripes. I'm using a tear off palette here. It has a sort of waxy coating. And these water mixable oils I've just got, I didn't have a black, so I've gone for a Payne's grey, which in the end I think worked out quite well, and a titanium white. I've also got water, which you can use with these, but I think I'm going to use this water mixable linseed oil. It improves the flow of the paint and keeps it kind of workable for longer, gives it a nice gloss as well, I think. So I'm putting some of that in this little dish. A little goes a really long way. Having a bit of a problem getting the top off there. But got there in the end. That looks like a really, really small amount, but I think that just about saw me through the whole painting. I've got a piece of cloth here to just wipe my brushes in between to keep them clean, and make it easier to blend on the canvas. And now I've got to think about brushes. I found it difficult. I realised I haven't got the best selection of brushes suitable for oil paints. You want something a bit more robust than you would use for watercolour paints, certainly. Yeah, and because I wanted 2 sets, one for black and one for white, which is what Cindy suggests you do, I found it quite difficult to get enough variety of sizes and shapes. But anyway, I muddled through in the end. Got them mixed up occasionally anyway, which wasn't surprising. It's lovely to have such a simple palette and no mixing at all to do before I get started. So I'm just putting some of my Payne's grey there. And it's a really, I know it's always going to be dark Payne's grey, but I think this was a particularly dark one, which worked out quite well for me. And some titanium white off to the other side. And right through to the end of the painting they don't really mix at all together on the palette, so this was quite an interesting exercise for me, and probably quite a useful one in terms of getting over my fear of oil painting. So I think what I'm talking about here is that I'm going to start by blocking in all my darker tones, and that even in those very dark areas you can still see some faintly lighter parts and even a little twinkle of light in that eye that's in shadow there. I can see that there's not a lot of difference in the tonal value between the wall and the face actually, and I like how the outline of the face is really only shown by the break in the lines. One of the things that I loved about Cindy's piece was that she showed the shape of the arm without any outline in some areas. Yeah, I think I'm just pointing that out there. There's no line here at all, but your brain can still see where the arm is, if that makes any kind of sense at all. So in some ways I'm going to use a similar idea, but with a very different reference photo. So we're getting to the point where I'm going to stop waffling and play you some music and go into a speeded up version of my painting process. Like I said, I shall be starting by blocking in the darkest tones that I can see, and then I shall dot back and forth between the lightest tones and the darkest tones and blend the two together to get the mid-tones. There was a lot of backing and forthing. There's definitely an ugly phase, but eventually I do come out the other end. So I'm going to stop waffling now, as I say, and put some music on, and I'll see you in a few minutes. so it's the next day. I'm actually quite happy. I don't think I'm going to do any more to the face and chest area here. But I'm not really happy with this background. I think it needs to be a bit more precise. So what I'm going to do, I just think it all needs a bit of tidying up and a bit more oomph. So I'm just going to go through now and actually take a ruler, carefully place it down because I don't want to smudge anything. This is the next day, but you can see that the paint is still damp. So I'm going to treat this as kind of a base layer. I'll need to be very careful not to smudge what I've done here. And I'm just going to give myself some guidelines with a ruler and then very painstakingly paint much tidier lines across here. That's going to take me a while and I think it would be a bit boring to watch, so I'm just going to do it and then come back at the end, probably tomorrow morning, and show you how I got on. So I'll binge watch a bit of I'm currently enjoying Secrets of the Museum on BBC iPlayer. Absolutely fascinating stuff. So I'm going to watch a bit of that and just go through, tidy up my background, and then I think I'm done with this. Okay, so I'll see you in a bit. Wish me luck. Right, that's it. I'm done with this, at least for now. I think it's still very damp, and it will take a few days or even a couple of weeks to dry completely. During that time I may decide I want to work on it a bit more, but for now I think I've reached the end of the road with this one. I didn't manage to get the lovely kind of crisp lines that I had in my head, but in the end I quite liked the sort of artsy effect that I've accidentally got there. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that for now. It was a really interesting exercise to just use the black and white and even keep the brushes separate, and made it a lot less daunting to do the oil painting. And the water mixable oils also, for me I found them a lot less daunting than normal oils, but that might be just me. And of course I've just had to quickly wash my brushes in hot soapy water and I'm done, so that's a bonus as well. So anyway, let's go back up to Facecam. So that's it. I'm done with that painting for now. I hope you enjoyed watching it and found it interesting. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how you feel about oil paints. For me, it's one of the more scary types of media to use, but definitely this water mixable version made it more approachable. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what everybody else thinks about that. Thanks again very much for watching, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.